Parents gave my 4-year-old a cracked toy for her birthday and said, "That's what disappointment kids get." My sister's kids laughed. I didn't make a scene. I just cut off payment of my parents' bills. And 5 days later, they started going crazy. When I tell people I stopped speaking to my parents over a toy, they assume I'm being dramatic. They don't know the half of it. My daughter Ava turned 4 last month. It was supposed to be a nice, easy backyard party. Nothing extravagant, just close family. I booked it at my sister Nicole's place because she's got the big yard, and I thought it'd be better for the kids to run around. I did all the work myself, the decorations, the cupcakes, the favors. My parents didn't even ask if I needed help, just said they'd try to come. They arrived halfway through carrying a sad little bag that looked like it had been left in someone's trunk for weeks, wrinkled, faded, and barely holding together. I didn't say anything, but I noticed it immediately. My dad gave it to Ava like it was some grand surprise. My mom laughed and said, "That's what disappointment kids get." Everyone heard it loud and clear. There was this weird pause, and then Nicole's kids, all 3 of them, cracked up like it was a comedy routine. I looked at Ava. She was holding the bag, trying to pull out the toy. It was a small plastic pony broken in half, literally snapped through the middle like someone had stepped on it. The leg was missing, and there were scratch marks all over it. She looked at me, not crying, not saying a word, just trying to figure out if this was normal. It wasn't. Nicole didn't say a thing, just kept sipping her drink like she hadn't heard what our mom said. Her kids passed the pony around, laughing about it, making broken horse noises. Ava quietly set the toy down on the table and moved on to something else, but I could see it stuck with her, and something snapped in me. I didn't yell. I didn't make a scene. I didn't pull the "what is wrong with you" speech. That's what they would have expected. That I played along, smelled through the last hour of the party, hugged people goodbye, thanked them for coming, but inside, I was done. I got Ava in the car, buckled her in, and didn't say a word on the drive home. She fell asleep holding a balloon and a coloring book one of Nicole's friends had given her. And when I tucked her in, I promised myself something. That was the last time they were going to make her feel small. The next morning, I sat down with a notebook and made a list of every bill I paid for my parents. Cell phone plan, mine. Gas card in my name. Electricity set up on my auto pay. They'd been acting broke for years. Always something new. The car broke down. The furnace died. Dad's back pain again. Mom's prescriptions. And I helped every time because they were my parents. Not anymore. That day, I started shutting things off quietly. No big text, no warning, just off. They didn't notice right away. But 5 days later, the phone calls started, and things got weird fast. 5 days. That's how long it took for the first crack to show. I was folding laundry when my phone started blowing up. Missed calls from my mom, then my dad, then a string of texts from my mom. No punctuation. All caps. She said her phone wasn't working right and accused me of messing with it. Said she couldn't make calls. I didn't respond. A few hours later, she called from Nicole's number. I let it go to voicemail. She left a message pretending to be calm, saying something was wrong with the account and that it must be a mistake. Asked if I could just check. I didn't. I already knew what the problem was. I'd removed their phones from my family plan and disabled the gas card. Their electricity would be up next, but I wasn't going to cut that off entirely. I just removed the autopay, let them feel the due date creeping up for once. Nicole tried to get involved 2 days after that. She sent me this long, guilt-trippy message saying that Mom's really upset and crying. She thinks something's wrong with you. I didn't answer that either. I had no interest in hearing it from the sister who stood by while her kids mocked mine. And besides, they'd all gotten so used to me taking care of things that they thought silence meant negotiation. It didn't. Then my mom tried something new. She called from a neighbor's landline and left another voicemail. This one was much different. She said she'd been having chest pain, that the stress of the last week was affecting her health, and that it was cruel of me to put her through this. No mention of Ava, no apology, just drama. She always pulled this kind of thing when she wasn't getting her way. Health scares, emotional guilt, half-fake tears. My dad would back her up, muttering about how I was the successful one, and it wasn't a crime to need a little help from your kid. But what they did to Ava wasn't a slip-up. It was intentional. It was cruel. They wanted to make some weird point about how they weren't impressed with my parenting, and they used my daughter's birthday to send the message. The worst part was Ava asked about the pony once. She brought it up during dinner, completely out of nowhere, and said she wanted to give it to the broken toy doctor. I said, sure, maybe we could find someone to fix it. She smiled and moved on. That's when I knew I was doing the right thing. They didn't deserve to be around her, not until they understood what they did, not until they could look their granddaughter in the face and admit they were wrong. And I wasn't going to ask for that. I was going to wait for it, or not. But they couldn't handle the silence. A few more days went by, and my dad finally cracked. He showed up at my house. Not called, not texted, just knocked on the door while I was in the middle of making lunch. He looked like he hadn't slept. And for a second, I almost opened the door. Then I saw what he was holding. A bag, a gift bag, brand new. Still had the store tag on it. I didn't open the door. I watched him through the window as he stood there for a few minutes, then slowly walked back to his car. He left the bag on the doorstep. Inside was another toy pony. This one was perfect, and it was too late. The new pony sat on the counter for 2 days before I even showed it to Ava. It was one of those glittery ones with brushable hair, way nicer than what they'd ever bought before. I knew it wasn't for Ava. It was for me. A peace offering. A manipulation. It came with no note, no apology, nothing. Just the toy and the same passive-aggressive silence they always used when they didn't want to say the words, "We were wrong." I didn't tell Ava where it came from, just said someone had dropped off a present late. She lit up and ran off to play with it like nothing had ever happened, but I couldn't forget what came before, and I wasn't ready to forgive. A week passed with no calls, no texts, total quiet. I thought maybe they were getting the message. Maybe they'd finally stop trying to guilt me into being their personal wallet. Then Nicole invited me over for dinner. It was worded strangely, like, "We haven't all been together in a while, and Mom wants to talk, but in a good way." Against my better judgment, I said yes. I told myself maybe this was it. Maybe they were actually going to apologize. Not a half apology, not a guilt trip disguised as concern, a real one. So I went. Ava stayed home with the sitter. I wasn't going to risk her being part of whatever this was. I walked in and knew something was off immediately. The lights were dim, candles on the table, music playing softly in the background. Nicole smiled like everything was normal. Too normal. My mom came out of the kitchen carrying a tray of food like we were filming a Thanksgiving commercial. My dad stood up and offered me a seat. I sat. I waited. Kept my guard up. Then Nicole pulled out her phone and started recording. She was smiling. My mom leaned forward and said she was so glad we could all reconnect and how families fight, but we always find our way back. My dad nodded like a trained actor, and Nicole kept angling the camera to get all three of them in frame. I asked her what she was doing. She said she was documenting the healing process. I got up and left. 10 minutes later, Nicole texted me the video. They posted it on Facebook. The caption said, "Sometimes families drift, but love brings us back." It had hearts and emojis, and the comments were already full of people talking about how beautiful it was that we were reconciling. Except we weren't. Nothing had been resolved. No apology, no ownership, just a stage scene for likes and sympathy. They didn't want forgiveness. They wanted the appearance of forgiveness. They wanted to erase what happened by rewriting it for an audience that had no idea what they'd actually done. But I wasn't playing along. That was the moment I decided they were never seeing Ava again. And they had no idea what was coming next. The night they posted that video, the fake dinner, the staged reconciliation, something in me flipped for good. I was so done being their safety net, their punching bag, their scapegoat, and now their story prop. They were rewriting reality while still refusing to speak the truth. I didn't sleep. I just lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, remembering Ava's face when she unwrapped that broken pony. How quiet she got. How she kept glancing at me like maybe it was her fault, like she hadn't earned better. Around 4 a.m, I got out of bed and opened my laptop. I went through every single account, the ones they never thanked me for, the ones they just expected me to pay like it was their birthright. I removed them as authorized users from the utility accounts, took back control of the pharmacy card they'd been using for discounts, canceled the grocery subscription my mom used weekly. They still had their names on the gas card, but I reported it stolen and deactivated it completely. I didn't even feel guilty, and I didn't warn them. They didn't deserve that. Later that day, I sent them both a text. Short and simple. Don't contact me again unless it's to apologize directly to Ava. Not me. Her. Nothing. Not a single word back. Just the same stubborn silence they always used to punish people when they weren't getting their way. But 2 days later, the game changed. My dad left me a voicemail, and I could barely recognize his voice. He was crying, actually sobbing. He said the power company shut off their electricity. He said he didn't know what happened to the payments. Said they thought it was a mistake. Claimed they were using candles and that the fridge had stopped running. He said, "We're not bad people, Julieta. We just need help." He was holding back from saying the real thing, still trying to twist it. I listened to the voicemail once, then deleted it. A few hours later, Nicole sent me a photo of our mom wrapped in a blanket in a dark room lit by a single candle, like she was living in a Dickens novel. I could see the corner of a takeout bag in the background. They weren't starving. They just wanted to look like they were. Nicole followed up the photo with a text. She fainted earlier. She won't say it, but I think she wants to see Ava. It would mean a lot. I didn't reply. Later that night, Nicole posted again. A picture of her kids cuddling with our mom. Captioned, "She's always been the strongest woman I know, even when her own forget where they come from." She tagged me. The comments started coming in. Strangers, old neighbors, relatives I barely knew. Things like, "This generation doesn't appreciate anything, and some daughters need to learn humility." Someone even wrote, "Julieta always seemed a little selfish, not surprised." I could have defended myself, could have explained everything, but I didn't. I just posted one thing. A photo of Ava sitting on the floor with the new pony, smiling so big her cheeks puffed out. The caption said, "She finally got the birthday she deserved." I didn't tag anyone. I didn't need to. And just like that, everything went quiet. 2 full days passed. No calls, no texts, no fake health scares or desperate voicemails. I thought maybe, just maybe, it was over. Then my phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. I picked up. It was my grandmother, my mom's mother, and she sounded furious. I hadn't heard my grandmother's voice in almost a year. She's 82, sharp as ever, lives alone, and doesn't get involved in family drama unless she absolutely has to. The last time we spoke was after Ava's 3rd birthday. She'd sent a handmade sweater and a handwritten card. That's the kind of woman she is. Old school, no nonsense, never pick sides. Until now. She didn't waste time with greetings. She asked what the hell was going on with her daughter. I didn't even try to sugarcoat it. I told her everything. From the cracked toy to the fake dinner and the Facebook pity parade. I laid it all out calmly, without emotion. Just facts. She didn't interrupt me once. When I finished, she let out this low, bitter laugh and said, "So, she's still doing that? Thought she'd grow out of it." I didn't know what that meant. I asked what she was talking about, and then she told me things I never knew. She said when my mom was a teenager, she used to steal things from neighbors and blame it on her younger siblings. Said she faked having asthma for 2 years to get out of chores. She said she would do anything, lie, cry, make herself the victim, to get attention or avoid responsibility. And apparently it never stopped. She just got better at hiding it. I was quiet for a moment. Then I asked her why she was calling now. She said Nicole had reached out, said I was abandoning the family and that mom was on the verge of collapse. She said, "They painted you as this cold-hearted daughter who cut them off for no reason and turned Ava against them." Then she said, "I didn't believe them. That's why I'm calling you, not them." I nearly cried. Not because of what she said, but because someone in this family finally believed me without needing proof. She asked if I wanted her to step in. I didn't even know what that meant. But I said yes. The next morning, things exploded. Nicole posted and deleted a furious rant, tagging no one but clearly about me. She said, "Some people are poison and don't deserve family." But before it disappeared, my grandmother, who apparently does know how to use Facebook, commented on it. She wrote, "If your mother had an ounce of decency, she would have apologized to her granddaughter instead of staging scenes and playing the victim. Julieta doesn't owe you a single thing. Get your house in order before you talk about poison." And then she signed it like a letter. Mom. The comment blew up before it vanished with the post. Screenshots got passed around. Someone sent it to me, and I just stared at it for a long time. It was the first time anyone in the family had ever defended me publicly. The first time anyone stood up to my mom. Ava was in the living room brushing her pony's hair when I got the screenshot. She looked up and asked what I was smiling at. I said, "Just something I've waited a long time to hear." But it wasn't over. Not yet. Because later that week, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. But I recognized my mother's handwriting. Inside was a photo of me as a child and a note. Just 7 words. "You were a disappointment too once." I didn't open the envelope expecting anything good. But I also didn't expect that. 7 words in my mother's familiar slanted handwriting. "You were a disappointment too once." No love, Mom. No context. Just bitterness packed into a single sentence, mailed like a final blow. I just sat there at the kitchen table, the note in one hand, the photo of me as a kid in the other. I must have been about Ava's age, wearing a paper crown, frosting on my chin, smiling, probably at her. The same woman who decades later would humiliate my daughter at her birthday party and then dig through old photos to take a parting shot at me like we were in some twisted competition. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't even feel sad. Just done. I tore the note into tiny pieces, smaller than confetti, and flushed them. The photo I kept, not because of her, but because of the girl in it. Me, before I knew what kind of people I'd been born to. That night, I told Ava we were going to make a new tradition. Something just for us. She didn't ask why, just nodded, like she always does when I get quiet and thoughtful. We ended up baking cookies, burned half of them, turned the rest into cookie sandwiches with ice cream in the middle. Ava called it fancy dinner. We laughed so hard we both had hiccups. The next morning, I called my grandmother and told her about the note. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I'm ashamed she's my daughter, but I'm proud you're my granddaughter." That hit me harder than anything else had. Then she told me something I didn't expect. She said she was rewriting her will, not out of revenge, not to cause more drama, but because she wanted Ava to have something real, something from someone who actually saw her worth. "Your mom was raised with love and patience," she said. She chose to turn bitter. But you're raising Ava different. I want that to mean something. I didn't even know what to say. I just thanked her. And that same week, I did what I should have done years ago. I changed my number. I blocked my parents and Nicole on every platform, reported and removed old photos they tagged me in, took their names off school forms, emergency contacts, every file they were attached to. I didn't announce it. I didn't warn them. I just cut the last thread. And then came the silence. But this time, it wasn't scary. It wasn't cold. It was clean. Ava stopped asking about them. She started asking about other things. Dinosaurs and cloud shapes and why cats don't wear shoes. Her mind was free again. And so was mine. I thought the peace would feel empty. But it didn't. It felt earned. Quiet in a good way. No more calls. No more staged photos. No more walking on eggshells or wondering if they'd show up and ruin something else. Just mornings with Ava and cartoons and cereal. Just evenings making up bedtime stories about a glitter pony who built castles out of jelly beans. Just the life we were supposed to have before they poisoned it. Some people think cutting family off is cruel, but they weren't there when my daughter unwrapped a broken toy on her birthday and was told she deserved it. They didn't hear the laughter. They didn't see her confusion. I did, and I swore that day I'd protect her. Now I have. And the door is closed, locked, sealed, forgotten. We're not looking back.